Hello, Georgia Pre-K class of 2021. Welcome to the Academy. I am Stacy Vinton, the owner and director here at the Academy, and I want to welcome you to our center, to the Georgia Pre-K program, and my hopes are that you will soon feel like the Academy is home for you also. I am recording this as if we were providing you a open house opportunity, so just bear with me. I am not a professional public speaker. I do not enjoy speaking in front of others, and to save time, I am just going to keep on talking even if I mess up a little bit, so bear with me. But again, I want to welcome you. We are so thrilled to start the school year. I sent my kids to school for the first time today, and it was nice to get a little sense of normalcy, and we are so excited to be able to open our doors to you and to your child and to be able to provide them a social, emotional learning experience face-to-face, and we hope that we can do that for as long as we are allowed to. We appreciate your trust during this global pandemic, and we couldn't be more excited to start the school year. So I would typically start open house by introducing my staff. So I have two assistant directors. Haley Cagle is my assistant director of education. She is also my Georgia Pre-K site director. So she is the one who handles a lot of the tasks with Georgia Pre-K. So she may be a direct contact for you with Pre-K specific items. Megan McKinley is my assistant director of administration, and she handles a lot of the paperwork side of everything that goes on at the Academy and also with Georgia Pre-K. And then Brittany Meeks is also an assistant administrator who fills in the blanks and does whatever we need her to support us and the program. She may even be in your child's classroom from time to time. You just never know where you might find her on a given day. So, as a part of the Georgia Pre-K program, our main goal is to prepare your child not only for life and a strong learning foundation, but more importantly, kindergarten, which will be here. This year will fly by. But with that being said, we are required to provide a full day of instruction for a total of 6.5 hours a day. And with that, we are expecting you all to treat it as seriously as if they were entering into the public school system. So it is very important that they attend every day that they are able to, and that they don't have tardies, and that they aren't checked out often. And we'll go over that a little bit more, but we are required to provide a 6.5 full day, 5 days a week, for a total of 180 days for your child. At the Academy, we use the creative curriculum. That is the curriculum that we use throughout our center. Teachers also submit lesson plans weekly to Haley, and on those lesson plans, they are required to use the GELDS, the Georgia Pre-K content standards, and those can be found on the Bright from the Start website. You will be receiving a letter in your child's folder on the first day of school, and there will be a list of resources and websites, and that one is on there. Georgia Pre-K also uses the work sampling online system for assessment. So you may hear WSO referenced throughout the year. Each class right now, no matter the number of children in the class, they have a Georgia Pre-K lead teacher and an assistant teacher. Again, I hope that you have already heard from your child's teacher and they have introduced themselves to you. Throughout the year, these teachers will also be holding 2 parent conferences to update you on your child's progress. And as those dates get closer, they will be in touch. I know some of you may question what a typical day would look like in Georgia Pre-K, and I'm just going to read off some of the activities. So upon arrival, they get to do some self-selected activities that may include something as some examples are fine motor manipulatives, gross motor manipulatives, creative art, language arts, and listening. They also are provided outdoor play in the morning time. So weather permitting, they do go outside. We have a chart that we follow based on expectations from Bright from the Start, and almost every day they're going outside. There are very few times that they are not. So please make sure that you dress your child appropriately and accordingly. We do prefer closed-toed shoes for that reason, because they are outside almost every day. After coming in from outdoor play, they have their morning opening activities to include weather, calendar, phonics activities, story time, and music and movement. They have a mix from then to lunchtime of table activities, literacy activities, phonological awareness activities, along with some teacher-directed activities. They do have lunch in their classrooms, which I'll touch on a little bit later. Due to the coronavirus, we have made some changes in our structure. So they do have lunch. We provide lunch. They also have rest time every day, so you will need to send your child with a blanket. I will touch on that also later. And then they have outdoor play in the afternoon also, and then they have snack and a closing activity before their departure. On the first day of school, as I mentioned, your child will receive a folder, and in that folder you will find our Academy Family Handbook. In there is a list of pre-K specific policies and procedures, and I do ask that you just take the time to read over that so that nothing comes as a surprise to you, so that you know what our policies and procedures are. Also in that folder you will find a school calendar. We will be following the Hall County school calendar as closely as possible. There are a few changes, but for the most part, that's what we use as our guide. We also use the Hall County school system as our guide for inclement weather days. So if you see that Hall County is closed due to inclement weather, Georgia Pre-K will also be out for that day. As far as our center's policies and procedures, like I said, those are in our handbook. Please read over those, specifically some of the information about pickup and drop off. We do offer before and after school care for our Georgia Pre-K kids who need care before and after their class times. So I will note that children who participate in before and after care, if you bring them before 7:30 in the morning, they will go to the second classroom on the left. And we will provide breakfast for them as a part of our before care program. For pickup, if at any point in time you need to check your child out before 2:15, you will need to come inside the building. After that, your child will need to be in the car line for pickup, and that is something that I will touch on. We this year have had to really enforce things that are not easy to enforce, and as a parent I fully understand how strongly you all feel about wanting to bring your child in and walk them in on their first day of pre-K. And I, as a parent, again, like I said, I understand how difficult it is to imagine not being able to do that. However, we're so thankful for the opportunity to be able to open our doors. However, we're still having to take some serious precautions to make sure that we are being as safe as possible at the Academy, and that's to protect your children. And again, so that we can continue to have our doors open for face-to-face learning. So even on the first day of school, we will be running our car line. We will be doing the car line only for before and after school pickup, unless your child is enrolled in before or after care. We will give you a car rider tag that will be in your child's folder, so that to help us identify your car in the beginning. Eventually the teachers will know you and know your car, but for now, until we get used to that, we will be providing you with a car rider tag. Again, I know your teacher has made contact with you, and they should have made you aware of the morning arrival and the departure times. If you have any questions, please let us know, but we will be sending some additional information out about that before Monday. I do want to also add that as a part of the drop-off procedure, we now will be doing a health check upon arrival. So as the teacher gets your child out of the car, they will be checking your child's temperature, just doing a quick look over, make sure that they look like themselves and look healthy and happy and excited to be at school that day. And if you'll just be patient with us while we are working through that process, it will probably take a couple of days, maybe even a week, for us to get that process down. And we do appreciate you understanding that those are things that just must be done right now. In order for your child to start on the first day of school, all of the items below must be turned in. I know most of you have done a fabulous job of getting us all your paperwork ahead of time, but again, this is a list I'm required to go over. Just want to make sure that you know that we must have the proof of age, which would be birth certificate, passport, green card, or hospital record of live birth. We must have that proof of residency, a lease, a letter from shelter or employer, and any utility bill except for a telephone bill. It has to be something associated with the address. We must have the Bright from the Start registration form, the Bright from the Start roster form, our Academy enrollment application, the immunization form 3231, along with your ear, eye, dental, and nutrition screening form 3300. All paperwork must be turned in prior to your child's first day of school. If you have some lingering paperwork, you can turn that in with your child's teacher during car line. We do ask that you turn it in that way instead of coming into our building. Right now, we are only allowing one person at a time into our lobby area. So to avoid any additional congestion in our lobby, if you can just make sure to hand that to your child's teacher, we'll make sure it gets to the right place. I do also want to go back to the drop off in the mornings. There will be private families that will be dropping off during the same time that you will be dropping off. So they use the left-hand side of the portico if you can use the right-hand side of the portico. And all of this will make sense after the first day of Carline. I know I stressed earlier about absenteeism and tardiness, but I want to read you the Bright from the Start policy just so that you know that this isn't just coming from us because we support their beliefs, but this is their requirements for attendance in the program upon enrollment. Children who do not attend on a regular basis, are routinely late, or routinely leave the program early may be disenrolled. In addition, children who are late, leave early, or are absent for 10 consecutive days without a medical or other reasonable explanation must be disenrolled from the program. Again, this year is going to be very interesting because we may come in contact with a need for quarantine, and that's going to be totally understandable this year. However, we just need as much documentation as we can for that. So please know that if for some reason your child has to be quarantined, we're not going to disenroll them from the program. We just want them here, as much as possible during this time. Chronic tardiness is defined as late arrival or early departure more than once per week. If your child leaves early for a doctor's appointment, to ensure this is an excused early release, a copy of your child's appointment card or a doctor's note must be provided. In your child's folder on that first day, we will also be providing you with a menu. I just want to clarify that we will provide your child lunch and an afternoon snack every day, and they will be provided with what is on the menu. We do not allow for any substitutions unless it is an allergy or medically necessary, and with that, we are required to have a doctor's note. So if you have any questions about that, please make sure you reach out to an administrator just so that we can be clear on the policies in regards to substitutions. The meal fee each week is $30. It is due every Monday to be paid by cash or check unless your child is enrolled in our before and after care program. Then you can also pay a debit or credit card because you will be walking in to get your child. I do want to strongly encourage enrolling in our auto pay program, just because right now we are really trying to limit any contact, or as little contact as we can. And so I do want to encourage you to sign up for our auto pay if you're interested in that. An administrator at the front desk can give you one of those forms. With that $30 a week meal fee, if you're paying in cash or check, you can give that to your child's teacher in Carline, and they will pass it on to us. If your child qualifies for any of the following: food stamps, Social Security, Medicaid, TANF, then your child will be classified as a Category 1 child, which means that upon the provided documentation, which is just a copy of the paperwork or the card, that meal fee will be waived. We cannot waive that meal fee until we have that proof. So please make sure that we have that proof on the first day of school. The only other fees that I need to go over are the before and after care fees. If you plan on your child needing either of those additional services, we do need you to sign up formally, and you can send an email to info@theacademycdc.net just to make one of us aware that you will need those services. With that, it is a part of our private programming, and so it's considered a full-time enrollment, so we do have you sign an additional agreement just for that program. Those fees are due every week, no matter how much or how little your child is in attendance in those programs. So we do ask that you sign up for what you feel like you will need the most. And to hold your spot, you will also be required to pay a registration fee at the beginning of the year. Our before care is $25 a week, after care is $70, and then the combination of the two, before and after care, is $90 a week. There are many times where Georgia PreK will have a school holiday, but the academy is still open. So there will be times where we could provide service for your children if you needed that. So I just want to make note of some of those fees. A school holiday for children in aftercare, if they're already enrolled in our aftercare program, is just $20 additional a day. School holiday for children not in aftercare is $55 a day. Our Christmas breaks, spring breaks, and Thanksgiving breaks are $170 for the week. I want to strongly encourage you to find as many ways to be involved in your child's learning experience at the academy this year as possible. Again, we are in uncertain, crazy, strange times, and we will do our best to find ways to engage your family throughout the year. But I encourage you to maybe record yourself reading a book to your children, send that to your child's teacher, something that they can share with the class. We will be coming up with creative and non-typical opportunities this year so that you do feel connected. We know that communication is going to be more important than ever this year, and we will do our best. If you have any questions, concerns, issues, please don't hesitate to reach out to your child's teacher, to Haley, to myself, to Megan. We're here for you. We want this to be something that you can feel really good about by sending your child into a school. The experience that they're going to receive by being able to do face-to-face learning is just, it's not measurable right now. There's a couple of things that I do want to go over. We've had a couple questions about supplies. There are no supplies needed. We provide everything for the classes. The teachers may have a wish list of optional things that they may want, and just to give you an opportunity to help out. So if you want to reach out to your child's teacher specifically and ask them if there's anything that you can provide, I'm sure they will be happy to give you a list of those. Some items to send on the first day of school. If you can send in a blanket, the blanket will stay here all week. Again, this is new policy in accordance with our coronavirus policy and procedural changes. The blanket will go home on Fridays for you guys to wash, but it will need to stay here every day. So if you can send that in on the first day of school. If you can also send in a change of clothes in a Ziploc bag labeled with your child's name on it. paperwork we mentioned that must be turned in can be turned in to the teachers. I do want to just try to make you all feel a little bit more comfortable about some of the challenges that we're all facing, and to hopefully ease any apprehension that you may have in sending your child to school at the academy this year. We did close down from March 16th to June 1st out of precaution. It was just in our nature to be cautious, and until we had a grasp on our best practices for safety and the health and concern of all of our staff and all of our families, we just took some extra time to prepare. So when we opened on June 1st, there were many changes that we faced, and we've been doing those daily since June 1st. We have only had one case of coronavirus that was a positive test, and it was a child who tested positive only because the grandparents were tested positive, and so they tested the whole family. But otherwise, we have not had any other cases, which I feel like is very encouraging, and I want to encourage you as parents by telling you that information, just because I want you to know that in all these months we have only encountered that one case, and so I feel confident about us opening our doors to our 3 Georgia PreK classes. Right now our classes are small, and I feel like that's the best way for us to start the school year. If we have kids that enroll throughout the course of the year, each class could contain up to 22 children. Right now we have about 15 in each class. So again, I feel like this is a great way to ease into the face-to-face learning. As far as some of the steps that we have taken to protect all of those at the academy, as I mentioned before, we're only allowing one person in the lobby at a time. Our staff are in mask. Everyone that goes past our lobby doors is given a health assessment to include a temperature check before they clock in for the day. We are doing additional hand washing and disinfecting procedures, a little bit more than what we were doing before. For Georgia PreK specifically, we have made some changes in their classroom schedules to avoid cross exposure. We've put a little bit of time in between their car line times. We don't have them on the playgrounds at the same times. And they are spending the majority of the time only with their classroom and those teachers in their class. We are providing our meals in our classrooms, with the exception of our upstairs classes. They will be using our cafeteria. However, they will be separated and be with only their class during that time. Our teachers are going to work really hard to create a classroom environment to allow for social distancing as much as possible this year. So please know that we are doing all that we can right now in preparation for having more in our building, and we appreciate your understanding and cooperation as we do face this school year together. I do just want to touch on, I mentioned the health assessment upon drop-off. We will be also checking your child's temperature and checking for any symptoms. I know I mentioned that, but if you can just make sure in the car line to just kind of hold on until that process is completed and your child goes inside before you leave the portico. At this time, typically, I would ask if there are any questions or comments just in follow-up for what I have gone over today. So with that being said, I want to give you my email address so that you can email me if you have any specific questions that I can help you with. My email address is Stacy, S-T-A-C-I, Vinton, V-I-N-T-O-N, at theacademycdc.net. Again, welcome. We look forward to this year with your family.